Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate Santana. If you are new here, I am a wife and a mom of 2-year-old Olivia Joy, and I am 18 weeks pregnant with our second baby girl. Today I want to talk to you guys about the parenting resources that I have found to be extremely helpful and just share them with you. You don't have to buy them. I'll link them down below if you want to. You could try to borrow them from another mama friend, check out your local public library, or just look up different reviews about them online and see if you can find some information that would be helpful without having to purchase them. But I hope that this is helpful because I know I often say, I like sharing information that I have learned, and I really like learning about mom stuff. But I don't always share, where am I getting the information from? So today that's what I'm gonna share with you. So I have 7 books. One is a set of books that I'm gonna share with you today that have really helped me and I think are worth it. I'm gonna start from pregnancy and then move on up. So the first book is this book that my sister actually gave me. So if you're not familiar with Mama Natural, she has a website where you can find the majority of this information, to be honest. And I will link her website down below. I think it is a very, very, very valuable resource in which you can learn a lot of healthy alternatives to things that are typically recommended during pregnancy. So she talks about, which testing she thinks is necessary, or ultrasounds necessary, the difference between a midwife model and a medical model of pregnancy and birth. She talks about red raspberry leaf tea, natural labor, all of these really important things to me. So this has been really helpful. I actually didn't have this with my first pregnancy, so I'm really reading through it now. And she wrote it with a midwife. It's awesome. It gives you the information of what's happening that week in your body and with the baby, but then it talks through just other important things. Let me see if I can find something. How to exercise, prenatal yoga, how good it is to sit on an exercise ball and have that help you. So there's a lot of valuable information in here when it comes to natural pregnancy. Again, I would check out her website first. If you find her website to be really helpful, this is a really, really awesome resource. The next thing that I recommend, or that I read sort of in this order, is Montessori from the Start. So this book is going to talk about, and I talked about this in another video, this book is going to talk about how to use Montessori at home, literally starting from birth. So I'm just going to go to the table of contents really quick. So it's about your newborn, welcoming them into your family, how they discover the world, the connection between their hand and their brain, crawling and how that relates to coordination, how to involve them in practical life and personal care, how to help them with their language and intelligence, their developing will, and so on. It has some really helpful graphics too, a timeline of when you should introduce certain toys and activities for your child. So now I'm on 24 months and I can kind of see what sort of table I should have with them. Obviously explains it too. It says, help me to do it by myself. So essentially you really want to only help your child to the extent that you are helping them to build independence and to get to the point where they can do something on their own. There's so much good information in this. And to be honest, I'm gonna pick it up and read it again because this was packed away for a bit. We just moved and I need to get this out again and get some information on 2-year-olds, what she should be doing right now, what I should be focusing on for language and intelligence and her will and all of those things, practical life, personal care. I want to see where she should be at around the 2-year mark. So this is a great, great, great resource if you are interested in doing Montessori with your child. Okay, so once you hit about 6 months, some people do it a little bit sooner, but what I've heard is that 6 months is a good time to start and there's no reason to start sooner. Most people tend to start feeding their child solids or introducing solids. So one thing that really helped me, because I researched baby led weaning and I wanted to do that, although I was scared, and I did purees for a few weeks before I got into more solid foods, were these books. So this is counting as book number 3, but it's really 3 books together. I got this cookbook. It's called Baby Led Feeding. This is so beat up because I have used it so much, over and over and over and over again. I come back to this book. and it's organized into sections. The first section just explains to you safety, baby-led feeding, why feed your child that way, and kind of goes through all of the background of feeding your child, especially if you're a first-time parent. Then it gets into what's called first bites. So that's food to start feeding your child at 6 months. And then the second section is heartier finger foods, and that's for 8 months and up. And it just is so helpful to introduce your child to like different foods than, you know, maybe what's on your typical shopping list. And then family meals is the last section, and that's for 8 months and up. I think this book is so helpful. I wish I would have honestly stuck with it every single day. I did it so much, but I think I could have even done it more, because the more you introduce to your child when they're young, the more they're going to take with them once they get into that typical like picky sort of phase, which my daughter is sort of going through now at around like 18 to 24 months. But there are still things like she will eat curried cauliflower every single meal of the day if I tried to feed it to her. And that was from this book. That's just an example of a taste that might not be something you would expect a toddler to eat, but she loves curried cauliflower and just certain meals like that. So I have this one. I recently bought her 2 other books. I haven't gotten as much use out of them yet because I just got them, but they are really helpful as well. So this one is Real Baby Food. And it has the exact same sections. So 6 months, 8 months, and then family meals. And then this is a Multicooker cookbook. So I got this because I really want to use the Instapot more often and cook for her in there. It has the exact same sections of 6 months, 8 months, the heartier foods, and then 8 months and up is also family meals. So these are super helpful resources if you're like me and you don't really know where to start with feeding your kid, but you also want to expose them to a lot of different foods and you don't want them to be picky. This is really, really helpful. And the recipes are so easy to read, so easy to do, like just made me feel confident. I felt like I could never feed my child these like fancy foods, but the recipes just really made me feel like a confident like cook for my child. Okay, so that's 3. Number 4 is this book. It's called The Tech-Wise Family. Everyday Steps for Putting Technology in its Proper Place. I need to look at this again. I looked at it before she was born. To be honest, I would say I've been unhappy with my own parenting and how much technology she has been exposed to since March, which is when you know what started. I don't want to say it because I don't know if we'll get like sort of bumped down in the algorithm, but I need to read this again, and it is such good information about why we don't want technology and just putting it in its proper place. Like there's nothing wrong with it if it's in its proper place. Okay, so it says, I'm just gonna read you this one excerpt, guys, because it's so good. So it talks about making a plan. This is in the introduction. It says, the first and deepest thing you need to do is to choose character, to make the mission of your family, for children and adults alike, the cultivation of wisdom and courage. And so they talk about, is the heart of your home the thing that everyone gathers around, something that builds wisdom and builds courage? Is it something that, you know, takes skill, or it just takes mindless consumption? Then it talks about the second is to shape your space. So to make choices about the place where we live that puts the development of character and creativity in the heart of your home. And third, it is to structure your time, to build rhythms into your life on a daily, weekly, and annual basis that make it possible for us to get to know one another, God, and our world in deeper and deeper ways. This is a Christian book, by the way. I cannot recommend this book enough. I need to reread it for myself. It just gives purpose to why we're saying no to screen time so often and why we want to build rhythms that don't include screens. The next book, I'm gonna stick with Christian books here for a minute because I've got 3 of them. So the next one is called Boundaries with Kids. So it's a little ripped. This book is so good, and it's not just for like toddlers. This is more like into childhood. I'm going to be reading this a lot. So these particular authors, who are both doctors, wrote the book Boundaries for Adults, and I originally read the adult book and it like changed my life. So This book is so good and talks about why it is important to set up boundaries with our kids. It makes it easier to understand what boundaries are good, to help you set them, to give you ideas. Part 1 is about why kids need boundaries. Part 2 is 10 boundary principles that kids need to know. So I'm just gonna read you some of these. 1 is the law of sowing and reaping. What you reap, you will sow. The law of responsibility, the law of power. And the subtitle there is like, I can't do it all, but I'm not helpless either. So this is so good. I need to put this on my bedstand and like read a little bit every night. Going along with that, this book, guys, it is so good. It's called Parenting, 14 Gospel Principles That Can Radically Change Your Family. This actually, if you're interested in reading it first without having to purchase the book, I believe he has if you have the Bible app, he has a like devotional that goes through these 14 principles. So you could check them out on there. And then if you're interested in reading more, you can go ahead and grab this book. I haven't completely finished it. I am on chapter 9 out of the 14, but I really need to go back and read this again. It is so good, and it has really changed the way that I think about parenting. It's not a one-time event. It's not a one conversation that's going to change your child. We are parenting fallen individuals, and we ourselves are fallen individuals. We're all in need of grace. It talks a lot about grace, about just keeping relationship with your child while you're teaching them these biblical principles. So this is such a good book. Last book is the Oh Crap Potty Training book. I will link a video that I did on this book down below, but I think this is so important if you're gonna potty train. It was so helpful to me. I know so many mamas have used it. It really helped. We potty trained our daughter. We started around 19 and a half months, and she was potty trained by 20 months. So go ahead and grab this book or look up like YouTube videos on people who have potty trained using this method. I believe in it. It's an easy read. Get yourself ready for potty training and do it right. I hope that these books and suggestions were helpful for a place for you to go to start to learn more and to give you some ideas of books that have helped me. Hopefully you can find some free resources online. I'll try to put as many free resources as I can in the description box below. Thank you guys, as always, for liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. Check me out on Instagram at Sweet Home Sans Hannah, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys next week. Oh, also, please leave me any comments on books you have found helpful in your parenting. Thank you guys so much. Talk to you later. Bye.